From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. I'm Rich Straffolino. Bit2Watt threatens power stability. 3 researchers from Zhejiang University published a paper documenting a new approach to destabilize power infrastructure using only legitimate workloads on a cloud tenant. The technique requires no compromised sensors, malware, or stolen credentials, just a legitimate workload built to switch a GPU's power draw between high intensity and near idle on a set schedule. The researchers demonstrated 2 methods, one using a purpose-built CUDA kernel and a stealthier version that hides the modulation inside a real LLM training run. In a simulated worst-case scenario of 1,000 GPUs modulating in lockstep on a small grid, harmonic distortion reached 46.8%, well above the 13% guideline set by the International Electrotechnical Commission. The simulation also showed a dampening ratio that turned negative. Now, in a stable grid, a disturbance's effect shrinks over time, think the way a bouncing ball settles down. A negative dampening ratio, though, means the disturbance grows instead, which is what makes the grid unstable in this context. The researchers acknowledge that synchronizing that many real cloud GPUs in lockstep remains an open problem. All AI models cheat at cyber evaluations. A new report from the AI Security Institute found that every model tested attempted to cheat during cyber evaluations. The attempts to cheat do not seem to scale with the capacity of the model. Claude Mythos Preview cheated the least at 7.8% of the time, while GPT 5.4 cheated the most at 14.1% of the time. The methods of cheating varied widely between the models. In some instances, they searched the internet for solutions to a problem. In other cases, they probed the evaluation harness. The most common across all models was attacking a system other than the target. AISI defined cheating as taking an action out of scope for a task or explicitly disallowed by rules to achieve a goal. In one instance, a cyber evaluation was accidentally misconfigured, making it impossible to solve. A model attempted to cheat by writing and running code on an external service hosted on the open internet and attempting to access AISI's evaluation infrastructure, ultimately triggering a legitimate security alert. U.S. weighing Chinese LLM ban. Axios' sources say the U.S. Commerce Department is renewing consideration for adding Chinese AI labs to its entity list. This wouldn't ban Chinese open-weight LLMs outright, but it would make it illegal for businesses to integrate them into products. Commerce first weighed the ban last year. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent seemed to confirm this by stating that the administration is investigating whether Chinese models have been distilled from American ones, describing it as IP theft. Fortinet building ASICs with Intel. Intel and Fortinet announced a strategic collaboration on the upcoming Fortinet Security Processor 6, which will be used in FortiGate firewalls. This marks Fortinet as both the first cybersecurity vendor named as an Intel Silicon customer and the first external customer overall to use Intel's most current Intel 4 node. There's no production timeline for this release, and Intel is expected to name additional customer commitments by Q4. Fortinet's most recent SP5 ASIC was launched in 2023 on an ARM-based SoC. And now, thanks to our sponsor for today, Quiller AI. AI agents don't ask permission, they act, moving data, triggering workflows, changing systems. Quiller AI is the permission layer they never had. Its decision engine evaluates the content, context, and intent of every action before it completes. Alerts tell you later. Quiller AI decides now. Visit quiller.ai. That's QUILR.ai. Stay safe. Quiller it. Taiwan will throttle mobile data during resilience drills. Taiwan's National Communications Commission, or NCC, said that as part of a nationwide civil defense exercise, mobile data services in the country will be throttled for roughly 30 minutes across 14 cities and counties in northern and central Taiwan. These will be part of overall urban resilience exercises held alongside military drills in mid-August. 4G and 5G mobile data speeds will operate at about 1% of normal capacity, with the goal of preparing people to seek alternative channels if mobile data networks become unreliable. This drill will not impact fixed broadband, Wi-Fi, or landline phone services. Kenya investigating hack of president's website. Kenyan officials are investigating a cyber attack that defaced the website of President William Ruto. The site was hacked over the weekend to display a cryptocurrency wallet address and threatening to publish information unless paid a ransom of 5 bitcoins, worth approximately $330,000 US. Information, Communications, and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo said authorities found no evidence of unauthorized access to sensitive data or data exfiltration on government systems. The defaced website claimed that it was a third warning to the president before releasing data, although authorities have not substantiated any of those claims. Google launches Gemini 3.5 Flash Cyber. Google DeepMind announced a limited access pilot program for a new Gemini 3.5 Flash Cyber model. This model is built on top of its existing Gemini 3.5 Flash and specializes in discovering, validating, and patching vulnerabilities, a capability that sounds increasingly familiar these days. The pilot will be available to governments and trusted partners through its CodeMender agent. A DeepMind spokesperson said there are plans to extend the model's capabilities into things like comprehensive enterprise defense and red teaming. Like Google's other Flash-grade models, this is designed to be a fairly lightweight, cost-effective model, a significant difference compared to the other cybersecurity-focused models. GitHub Sponsors crosses $100 million mark. GitHub reported that its GitHub Sponsors program has invested over $100 million in open-source maintainers and projects. This program was started in 2019 and allows developers to give direct monetary support to maintainers. GitHub reports that getting to the first $10 million took nearly 2 years of the program, while the most recent $10 million took 5 months. We talk a lot about the challenges faced by the open source ecosystem this year, so this seemed like a timely announcement. Critical PanOS flaw found under active exploitation. Arctic Wolf Labs disclosed that it observed several cases of threat actors exploiting a flaw in Palo Alto's PanOS Global Protect. This used an authentication bypass to access networks by several affiliates of the Quillam ransomware as a service group. Palo Alto patched the vulnerability back in May, and Rapid7 reported it saw signs of limited exploitation that same month. CISA added the flaw to its known exploited vulnerability catalog on May 29th. Shodan currently shows over 172,000 IPs with a Global Protect fingerprint, although it's not clear how many of these have been patched already or are just honeypots. Apple fixes Hide My Email flaw. Apple informed 404 Media that it deployed a patch to resolve an issue in its Hide My Email feature that could allow anyone to figure out a user's actual email address. Apple said it deployed a patch for the issue on July 3rd. The flaw was originally reported by security researcher Tyler Murphy in June 2025, and it said it was looking into it at the time. 404 Media reported on the issue earlier this month. The flaw required sending a target Hide My Email user a message that got rejected as spam. The bounced email revealed the actual email address. It's unclear how far back the flaw went. Remember to register for this week's Super Cyber Friday event, all about hacking the reduced tech stack I'll be hosting, and it's happening this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. To register, just head on over to supercyberfriday.com. And if you have some thoughts about the news from today or about the show in general, be sure to reach out to us, feedback@CISOseries.com. We'd love to hear from you. Reporting for the CISO Series, I'm Rich Straffolino, reminding you to have a super sparkly day.
Cybersecurity headlines are available every weekday. Head to CISOseries.com for the full stories behind the headlines.